On the economic sustainability plan, Mr. Laolu Akande joins us this morning. He's a senior special assistant to the Vice President on Media and Publicity. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Well, on the one hand is this report that we have had. On the other hand is the economic sustainability plan from the Office of the Vice President. And then there is that Agenda 2050. But crucial into all of this is the partnership with the states. First of all, take us through this plan and the communication of this plan to lift Nigerians out of poverty.
Okay, thank you very much, Hayo. So the economic sustainability plan is a plan that was designed, by the president, who had asked the vice president to lead the Economic Sustainability Committee. Sometimes in June, the report came out and was approved by the president and FEC. Now, what the plan is supposed to do is to, within 12 months, try and ameliorate, some of the, the fallouts of COVID-19, especially on the economy. So overall, the plan sets out to spend about 2.3 trillion naira to kind of, manage and try to manage the economic fallout of COVID-19 and stuff, and try to prevent a deep recession. Now, we did, working on the committee, looked at the various models of how things could actually go wrong, if we did nothing, if we did a particular level, and then we agreed that, look, we can find this 2.3 trillion and we can significantly reduce the negative impact of COVID-19 on the economy. So we do have in this plan several initiatives and measures that are designed to help the average Nigerian, the common man. Specifically, I'd like to talk on what we have for the MSMEs. So next week, we are starting the Survivor Fund, which is part of this plan. It's just one part of this plan. From next week, it's going to be available. So people who are beneficiaries will be able to get information if they go to survivorfund.ng. Now, so what is going to happen?
Mr. Akande, just one moment.
Under Survivor Fund.
Just one moment before you go into those details. Right. The first question anyone watching right now would be asking is, where is the funds going to be coming from? You saw in that report from the federal government that we have a minus 6%, growth, and then there is a tremendous and almost debilitating debt profile that we already have. How are we navigating all of that to ensure that this plan actually works?
Yes, I mean, thank you. If you look at the profile, what I can call the profile of this administration in its ability to be able to do so much with very little, it's a question of a leadership that is trustworthy, honest, and prudent. We have arranged the funds even in spite of all these dwindling revenues. It was the same thing that we did when we managed to come out with a social investment program, and we are doing a lot of the infrastructure plans, even though Nigeria was earning less. So there are two specific sources that is funding the plan. So we have from the budget, I think we have around 500 billion. And then we're going to be using CBN lending structures and facilities to raise quite a lot of the lending aspect of the program, and quite a few of other, concessionary international loans. So we have managed to capture how this program will be funded, very clearly, and that is why we are actually moving now to real implementation, which was what I was talking about, the Survivor Fund. So as from next week, that website, survivorfund.ng, survivalfund.ng. As from next week, that site will be open for Nigerians who have MSMEs, Nigerians who are artisans, Nigerians who are plumbers, electricians, transport workers, private school teachers, and all kinds of categories who will benefit under the survival fund. So if you give me time, I will explain to you some of the specific provisions that we have. For instance,
just maybe before that,
we are
Mr. Aide, just before that, I mean, we'll get into that in a moment, but there are a lot of other issues. When you talked about the CBN lending structure, some people are wondering, does that mean interest rates will maybe go up since we're trying to make more money? But specifically now, people are wondering, yes, inflation has increased, in fact, 29-month high just recently, and they look at the price of fuel, the recent increase in the price of fuel, electricity tariff, even food prices. You understand that the food index is also on the rise, and they try to put these things together and they wonder, how does this key into the government's economic plan? Because they expect that these things should actually at least be low, because if you cross-check with other sub-Saharan African countries, for example, you see that their energy costs and other food costs are on the low, and that's why they're recording reduced inflation. So one wonders, how do all these things fit into the government's economic plan? How does it make sense?
Okay. Without a doubt, these are challenging times, economically, not just for Nigeria or even African countries alone. And you can choose which of the data that you want to focus on. The fact of the matter is that these are challenging times, for us in Nigeria, in Africa, and even globally. In places like the United States and United Kingdom, we see they already recorded, quite, not flattering economic figures. But the point is that, yes, we will raise the funds necessary to inject money into the Nigerian economy. And this is the basic idea behind this 2.3 trillion economic sustainability plan. We need to reflate the economy. That is just something that we have decided to do. That is what the president has approved, and that is what we'll be going forward. And whether or not that will affect the interest rate, most of the lending structure that we're going to be getting from CBN is going to be very reasonable interest rates, probably between 9%, but, CBN can give the details. But the important thing at this point is that we need to put money in people's hands. And we need to do it urgently.
So on the one hand, yes, I get you, Mr. Konde. On the one hand is the intention to put money into people's hands. But then, on the other hand, it would look like we're giving to the people with one hand and collecting back through the tariff hike of electricity and fuel price hike on the other hand. So how do we balance these two?
Thank you. So that is not the case of giving and taking back. Look, let's take these issues one by one and just give me a little bit of time to flow. Let my thought flow, and just so Nigerians can understand exactly what we're trying to do. Now, first of all, the fuel the fuel price issue. Now, if you remember, sometimes in March, we deregulated that sector. And of course, because that sector, the price of PMS is connected to what happens in the international market of oil, it came down from about 145 to 125, sometimes in March, when we deregulated it. Because the price of oil in the international market will ultimately affect the pump price. Because you see, this is a refined product that we are bringing in, based on the international market dynamics. So what we believe is that instead of us to continue a regime where we heavily subsidize the price of fuel, maybe we should begin to move the money away to doing things that actually sustain the money in people's pockets. And besides the fact, we don't even have the money anymore. If you look at the 2020 budget as amended, there was no provision for subsidy. But the important thing is that since 2016, I believe, that we've been trying to reorganize that sector, Nigerians have been discovering that they can buy fuel. You know, I don't remember the last time when we have all those long queues. So fuel is available. People can buy it. The prices are being deregulated just so that it conforms to market dynamics. You know, and we believe that now that we are encouraging everyone to be able to bring in this product, ultimately the prices will go down when you have more investment in the sector. This is exactly what happened during the telecoms deregulation. If you remember, when we started, people were buying SIM cards for as much as 50 naira, you know, 50,000 naira. That was the cost of SIM card then. But because of continuous investment in that sector, because it was deregulated, prices came down up to a time that today, people virtually get the SIM card free. So what we are doing in the downstream sector in petroleum is to say, look, let us open that place up. Let people come and invest in it. Let the prices be determined by what happens in the market. We have the PPRA that makes sure that the consumers are protected. You know, marketers and people doing business that they don't have the leverage to raise prices, you know, incredibly. So there's still some kind of guidance. And in any case, we are now working to provide alternative to Nigerians instead of using PMS. We are working very assiduously to develop the compressed natural gas or the liquefied petroleum gas so that, you know, you don't have to use fuel. And some of these initiatives have started in some states. You know, there's a lot of progress in Edo. Government is going to be funding a system and encouraging a system where people can convert their cars, you know, from fuel use to gas. And we are doing all these things assiduously and diligently to ensure that the Nigerian is able to keep that money that we're talking about in the plan in their pockets.
Okay,
and, you know,
just one moment,
it's the same
Mr.
logic when you look at the tariffs.
Just one moment. You talked about the survival fund. You've wanted to explain what that is about. That's the government's way of putting money into people's hands. And then you've also referenced states. What's their role in all of these? And what's the engagement plan? We'll be back.
Well, welcome back. We still have Mr. Aide from the Office of the Vice President with us on the program this morning. He's been talking about the state of the nation's economy and what the government is doing to solve a lot of questions you have on your minds. Mr. Aide, thank you for your patience. Now, just before we went on that break, you were talking about the macro, what the government is doing, some of the decisions that have been made. Yes, you're also going to touch on that survival fund, but let's talk micro, because for a lot of Nigerians watching, they're thinking, so how do I, understand or make sense of the fact that I have to pay more for electricity, pay more for petrol, go to the market with more money, and they're wondering, where do I even get that more money from to afford the things that I want to buy, which have gone up? So they're wondering, how do I link this micro, my individual challenge, my individual reality, with what government is doing? Does government really have a plan to solve my problem? That is the question here. How do we link that macro to the micro to make it make sense? Maybe you can also talk about the survival fund also.
Okay, thank you, my brother. So let's get something very clear. Regarding the electricity tariffs, majority of Nigerians will not be paying more. And I like to say that again. Regarding the electricity tariffs, majority of Nigerians will not be paying more. And that is essentially because if you are currently receiving anything below 12 hours of electricity a day, okay, your tariffs will not go up. Now, if you are being asked to pay more, if you are in that category, you need to let us know. You need to go to NEC, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission's platforms on social media. Go to Twitter, go to Facebook. You need to go and report, so that what the president said is enforced. That's the first thing. So if you are receiving below 12 hours of electricity, you will not pay increased tariffs. All right. Now, also, the president has said that what is called the
Mr.
lifetime
Aide,
tariff.
just a moment. Pardon me for butting in. Just to clear that area about the electricity tariff. You understand that for a lot of people, once they see that their cost of living increases, they push it to maybe the person purchasing their product. So if a producer, for example, has to pay more for electricity, he'll most likely increase the price of his product. So it might not affect people directly, but indirectly, you know how these things work. There's a ripple effect. In fact, you go to the market and people tell you, well, electricity price has increased. That's why my tomato is more expensive, for example. So do you still think that it wouldn't affect everybody, if not directly, indirectly?
What is important, my brother, is that, let Nigerians understand what it is that government is doing. Let Nigerians understand what it is, the protections that the president has put in place, okay? And we can take it from there. So the president has said that if you are within a particular range of electricity supply, like I explained, you are not going to have to pay anything more. Now, if anybody is charging you more, you need to let us know. You need to let NERC know, right? The president has also said that there should be mass metering in this country. And we are starting with the provision of at least 5 million meters, okay? The president said he has waived the tariff to bring in the meters, okay? So that everybody gets a meter, because he has also terminated, he has directed the termination, the ending of estimated billing. This is what Nigerians don't want to hear. And the president is on their side. The president has told NERC, tell the discos very strongly, no more estimated billing. Okay? So, everybody is going to get a meter. You will only pay for what you use. If you don't receive improved service, you don't pay more. Now, we can deal, my brother, with the other ripple effect and stuff like that. I agree with you that we have to deal with that. But it's important for Nigerians to understand exactly what the protections that the president has put in place.
Okay, Mr. Aide, the earlier we deal with this, just one moment, the earlier we deal with those ripple effects, the better, because I don't know what the federal government will be telling Labour, having given that word out, that there is going to be mass action if the fuel price hike and the electricity tariff hike is not reversed. What will government, very briefly, what will government be telling Labour? What should Labour understand so they can suspend this action?
Thank you very much, Hayo. So Labour is made up of Nigerians. Those of us in government, we are Nigerians. The people out there are Nigerians. This country belongs to every one of us. Now, I must tell you that the reason I am personally serving in this government is because I know by my own personal conviction that the president and the vice president have the interest of Nigerians at heart. I want to say it categorically that if I wasn't convinced, or if I lost my conviction about the commitment of those two gentlemen, I'll be held the door. But I know that these two people have the commitment of Nigerians. So these are not people that we sit down and allow our people to be messed up.
So, but then the challenge then, Mr. Akonde, the challenge then is how that conviction of the first and second citizens of Nigeria are being communicated to Nigerians. But please speak to us, because we are running out of time, about how this plan, the economic sustainability plan, is being communicated with the states. For instance, the agricultural ambit of that plan has a 5 million job plan over the next 12 months. But that report also says that it is critical for governments at the federal and the states level to collaborate with land and all those things. What's the plan to partner with the states in that wise, so that we can have a seamless conversation and be able to meet that target of 5 million jobs in just 12 months?
Yeah, so I'll get to that. So the point I was trying to make is that the people that we are negotiating with in labor, they are Nigerians. We will show what the evidence are. The superior logic is what is going to determine the fate of our nation. The thinking, the transparency, the honesty, and the commitment. And any Nigerian can see it. You can cross-check these things. So we are confident that Nigerians will understand what we are doing and where we are going. And that is why we are communicating these things. Now, regarding how we relate with the state, very good question. So we do have quite a number of the programs and the measures that we have under the sustainability plan. They are going to be happening in the states. So, for instance, even the Survivor Fund, we have at least 30 to 35,000 MSCMEs in each of the states that will benefit under this payroll support. Okay, just like the agric program that you also raised. So we are working with state governments. I think we have over between 12 and 15 states already that have committed and they have agreed to make additional land available to farming. Not that federal government is taking anybody's land, but they have committed to give additional land for cultivation so that the plan to bring in at least about 5 million new jobs in the farms is already making progress. We have enumerated under this plan, we've enumerated about 5 million small farm owners across the country. We have enumerated them already. And what is going to happen is that the bigger companies that did the enumeration will be getting a lot of financing, again, at very reasonable rate to provide them with equipment, to provide them with yields, to provide them with fertilizer,
all right.
And then at the end of the day, to also off-take whatever it is that they produce.
All right.
And already we have a very robust plan.
Okay. Well, we could go on and on about this. It will be wonderful to see what plan, government has to communicate this to people so that they can take ownership. But for now, we have to thank you very much for your time, Mr. Laoluakonde, Senior Special Advisor to the Vice President on Media and Publicity. Thank you so much for your time.